Happy Friday. Oh, I'm a little late today. Lots of talking this morning. Are you guys noticing that you are talkative or less? I'm more talkative right now, and feeling a little bit more playful. Yesterday I was feeling a little over everything. The full moon sometimes feels dense to me, and but today I feel lighter. So I'm gonna do a reading for this weekend. What Spirit wants us to know for the weekend of the 9th and 10th, and obviously also today as well. So I'll just get right into it. I'm asking Spirit if there's anything, messages that want to come through. I think the main one is to allow ourselves to have some fun, allow ourselves to be playful. I'm just watching the birds. I'm like a little kid. I get distracted very easily by animals. There's the birds in my backyard that are playing, and then there's also baby squirrels that have been coming out. I think it's cool to understand the nature of nature, and that if we can emulate sort of, I was talking with a client earlier this morning about like watching these baby squirrels, like they're just learning how to be baby squirrels, and they're full on baby squirrels. Like they're just like doing their thing, and they're looking for seeds, and they're just being themselves. And obviously we have a bigger brain, and we have discernment, and we have consciousness in a way that nature doesn't display in that regard, although obviously we're part of nature. But if we can kind of emulate that or take that on as an energy, understanding who am I at my core as a human being, who am I really? You know, the baby squirrel is just being himself, really, right? Who am I? There, I just saw a lizard. The lizard's just being a lizard. Who am I really? Who am I being when I strip away Stacy, even Stacy the spiritual intuitive, strip away Stacy, you know, the 52-year-old white Anglo-Saxon female, strip away my living quarters, my geography, how much money I have, stripping away everything that we've assigned to being a human, and recognizing what human really is and where that spirit comes from. Can I embody the spirit of the nature, right, of being human, you know, the true nature, regardless of what I'm told I'm supposed to be or what I'm told I'm supposed to do. So let's pull some cards. I do also have, I'm going to pull the animal oracle today. Interesting, I noticed I'm doing a pattern where Monday I'm pulling crystals in the oracle. Wednesday I'm pulling from I can't remember what it's called, the other Colette Baron Reed, and then I'm tending to use the Spirit Oracle on Friday. So maybe I'll stick with that, and obviously always having my tarot deck to watch. And remember, I have free resources on my website, and you can DM me if you have questions for the collective. And let's see what Spirit has. Just these are the tarot deck, the Rider-Waite. Oh, interesting. Different energy than there was on Wednesday. We had the Knight of Pentacles. The Knight of Wands is actually sort of opposite. He's charging forth. He's ready. He's ready to cut away. He's not only ready to move forward, right? Which, of course, obviously, I know there's a lot of people that have been doing this work that are ready to move forward. I'm ready for something new. I'm ready for excitement. He's very excited, and he's exuberant, and he has a method behind his madness, and he also is ready to cut away what doesn't serve, moving forward in a way that's confident. So this Knight of Swords calls for, the way that I align with it, calls for confidence, calls for forward movement in taking inspired action, and looking at things too from, if I'm taking inspired action, maybe in a new way. Is there something that you've wanted to innovate within your life? Like Oh, I mean, let's just use the example, like if a fashion house, now makes masks instead of, whatever they were making before, dresses or whatever. Like, that's innovation and that's forward momentum, right? So in your realm, in your life, where can you take an innovative approach and move forward? Because I feel that the forward movement, so interesting, because this energy is so different than what I was talking about on Wednesday in regard to not feeling like we're being able to move forward, or we're waiting for the delivery of what the night has to bring. So the night's now moving in more of a forward momentum, and then let's ask for clarity around that to bring us sun, what we desire. This is good news, especially so I think a lot of us have been sort of waiting for some good news, especially on the collective front. Like, there's so much density and so much fear and so much sort of I'll use the word negativity. I mean, obviously information, we don't want to align with it as negative, but it can feel heavy, right? So this is a cutting away of the density, cutting away of the heaviness in order to bring us what we desire, which is the sun. This is a full manifestation of our desires. So so the sun brings us this. So let's ask for more clarity. Give us an outcome card. Temperance. Okay, so interesting. So we move forward he's quickening his momentum through looking at the bright side, and then also allowing for, how do we get for that feeling of momentum to be continued, is through balance. So there's a flow. So if we use I'm just going to use the reading that I did on Wednesday, because that Knight of Pentacles is such a different energy than the Knight of Swords. There's balance there, right? We need both. We need that sort of dense energy, or that materialistic plane, or that methodology, right? We talked about this. This is sort of a theme for today. That there is something that's valuable about the Knight going slow, and then there's also something valuable about him speeding up, or him going fast, or him cutting away, or him being charging forward. But we have to be able to differentiate what's needed. Do you see? So through discernment, and through letting the sun shine, like the sun becomes an illuminator, and it shines it shines a light on what's needed in order to get what we want. Does that make sense? So there's this, the sort of the sun dances with that, we've gotten what we want, and then we're continuing to get what we want. Like, it's ever changing, it's ever in flow. That's what the Temperance card is about. It's about balance. It's about recognizing the power in balance, recognizing the power of each, so that I don't have so that I'm not in judgment of when I feel like my life is moving slow, and I'm not in judgment when I feel like my life is in overwhelm or moving too fast. That I can, by shining a light on what's needed most in that time, that I can allow myself to be in the flow. And then when I'm in the flow is when things are always working out, right? Because I'm not attached to, this should be moving faster, or this should be moving slower. And he provides us the opportunity to sort of let the universe do its work. I feel that setting an intention and releasing, and everything that we did with the full moon energy, is that I'm releasing that. I'm ready to move forward now. I'm lighter, right? I'm lighter, which is going to bring me more opportunities to shine brightly, more opportunities to see where else I need to also, take action. And remember, there's discernment involved. That's the Temperance card also. And there's intention involved. So as I set the intention that I'm ready for forward momentum, because I've released, I'm allowing for the flow of the universe to provide the opportunity for that expansion, or for that movement to what I desire, if that makes sense. So there's this idea that if you're in the flow, we use the analogy of the river. Abraham Hicks uses this a lot in the law of attraction. I think about the teachings of Abraham, and there's this idea that if I'm in the river, right, I don't want to paddle upstream because that's obviously going against the current. And then also, conversely, I don't need to paddle downstream either. Because it's like you can't go faster than the flow, right? And it's a waste of energy. So if I allow myself to be in the flow, that's the temperance card. If I allow myself for the giving and the receiving, for the action and the allowing, then it sort of will happen naturally. And again, goes back to the nature of, like, I'm seeing the squirrels popping out again. And they're so freaking cute. You can't, how can you not be attracted? How can you just not want to, like, devour babies, anything? I could watch them for hours because they're so exuberant. But they also understand. I'm watching them from the perspective of how they wake up in the morning and when they wake up in the morning and when they come out, right? They come out of their little underground, they're ground squirrels, so they come out of their little nest and they know they know because of the sun, they follow the cycle. They come out, they do what they need to do. If a hawk or a raven flies by, they run back in, right? They know how to dance with nature in order to survive. Obviously, for them, it's about survival. And for us, it's about thriving because we've learned how to dance with nature. I just got a sort of an emotional hit around that. Instinctually, right? We know how to instinctually stay in the space of working with nature if we remember. And then now, because of evolution and everything, now we're not only dancing with the instinct or with the survival aspects, we're dancing with thriving aspects, which has caused a myriad of, kind of, the 1%, kind of all that kind of crap, like, that's a byproduct of thriving, right? People taking advantage of others is a byproduct of instinct, and it's also a byproduct of thriving. So if I can stay in the truth of thriving and be in the nature of thriving, then, and I understand the true nature of it, then that just kind of allows me to relinquish sort of the bullshit, I guess is the best way to describe it. I mean, I could kind of go down I know you're picking up what I'm putting down. I know that you get where I'm coming from in regard to that. So the goal is to stay in my true nature. What is my true nature? My true nature is love. My true nature is resilience. My true nature, and through staying in my true nature, being me, authentically me, then I get to go into a space of thriving instead of just survival. Okay, so let's ask for the Animal Spirit Oracle. This is, again, Colette Baron-Reid. I love her stuff. See what Animal Spirit has in store for us. And that's what I would say for this weekend. I don't know what's going on in your neck of the woods, but here they're starting to open up. I live in the LA County. I live in the high desert of Los Angeles, outside the city, and they're opening up the trails and they're opening up the beaches and those kinds of things. And so now what I'm going to do is observe how people respond and then get to decide with my own discernment if I desire to, I won't be going to the beach. I know that I won't be going to the beach because it's going to be ridiculous. That's a foregone conclusion. But I become discerning because I'm making a choice to watch, and I just don't really want to, be in that space at this time. And it has nothing to do with anything other than I don't like the big crowds, and it's not, the benefit to me doesn't outweigh what I have to go through to get to that space. So that's the question. Is this what I'm doing? Is this decision that I'm making benefiting my thriving vibration? Or am I benefiting myself by doing this? Or am I diminishing myself? Am I staying in instinct by making this decision to stay in fear? Am I going into a space of thriving human spirit instead of human instinct because I'm choosing to be discerning about what I'm going to align with as what fear means to me, or what survival means to me versus thriving. That I get to decide what all those things mean. I get to decide for myself what things mean for me, because I'm being in the true nature with who I am, relinquishing the ideas of what someone has planted into me, and whatever that ends up looking like, whether it's parental or societal or, whatever it is externally. I have enough discernment. I've reflected enough within myself to know what works for me and what doesn't. Right. And that's the goal. And I'm just saying that's my goal. Sometimes I don't know what's best for me. We're all doing the best that we can, right? But if I can self-reflect, if I can observe the nature and surroundings of wherever I am, and decide for myself what the meaning that I want to bring to it. And obviously doing research and doing whatever it takes for me to feel confident in that decision. That's the most important aspect. So let's pull, this is the age of Aquarius. The age of Aquarius says, question everything. And the age of Aquarius doesn't say question everything like, why are you doing that? Age of Aquarius says question everything from a space of curiosity. I feel that if I were to personify the age of Aquarius in a lot of ways, I would pick Albert Einstein, because he lived his life, his energy, the way that I align with his energy is that he was discerning. He was a scientist, right? So he looked at things from a space of curiosity. So that's what I would say. Be curious about how things are unfolding, and then what feels good to you. That's how we also practice intuition, is to observe the information and then make our own conclusions based on our heart-centered energy. And that you have to decide what that means for you. Am I coming from a space of fear, or am I coming from a space of heart-centeredness? So let's see. Oh, mouse spirit. Oh, it's such cute. Mouse spirit, tend to the small things. My little squirrelies they've got little mouse spirit. They're not quite, I know that their squirrel energy is different than mouse energy, but that's kind of what they look like, except for their tails are, oh God, they're cute. Okay, here we go. Mouse spirit is tend to the small things. And it's number 40, which is 4. Tend to the small things. The oracle message is the humble mouse pays attention to the smallest details. And mouse spirit calls on you to notice the nuances and the fine print at this time. In your eagerness to meet your goals and pursue your dreams, it is easy to forget the importance of clear communication and tending to the little things, including people's subtle signs that they are unhappy, as well as the small voice inside of you that says, this doesn't feel right. That's exactly what I just said. Discernment. And through the small things, right? Through the details. Take your time to sniff out what you need to know. Is there some detail or nuance about how you engage others or operate in your world that is key to your success, but you're too readily dismissed as nothing big or nothing special? I'm going to read that again. Take your time to sniff out what you need to know. Is there some detail or nuance about how you engage others or operate in the world that is key to your success, but you've readily dismissed it as nothing big or nothing special? Mouse spirit reminds you that what seems small may be important and powerful, and more powerful than you think. So look again. Do not underestimate yourself or your potential for co-creating something amazing when you pay attention to the details. So interesting, paying attention to the details. That's what, I put the cards back. So paying attention to the details in regard to, if we pull these up, like he may not necessarily pay attention to the details. So, but what he does is he goes quickly, and the sun next to it says, as quickly as you go, make sure that you do pay attention to the details, that that the sun illuminates what needs to be seen, right? And then what needs to be seen, then through that we can discern, and we can bring temperance. And then, so that's this, basically all this together. It's pretty cool spread. So that through the details is how we find temperance. Like, I feel like these cards are very much related to each other. And I mean, and then you see that the sun is illuminating the details in order for us to be discerning. So watch the details, especially I think through what I'm getting energetically is through people that you're relating with. Now, don't be judgmental. Be observant of how they're showing up and what that tells you about them, right? And then the same thing with yourself, self-reflection. How am I responding to this? I notice, I'll share with you, watching myself, I notice around, well, first of all, if I have low blood sugar, I get really, really short fused. Everything pisses me off. Like, not pisses me off, but everything's like, So I'm like, okay, wait a minute, Stace. What's going on? Are you really frustrated, or do you just have low blood sugar? So I am observing myself, and then I get to make a decision based on what I know to be true about myself, instead of like going down a rabbit hole of like why I'm so frustrated with everyone else or what's going on that I'm projecting outward, and really I just need to eat. That's one thing. And then another thing is too, like watching media, instead of getting triggered by it, take it as bits and pieces of information about details that's going to give me more insight into how I'm desiring to respond to it, right? So the details aren't there to make you crazy. That's one thing about details. They can sometimes as I'm an Aquarius air sign. I'm a triple Aquarius. I have Aquarius sun, Aquarius moon, my Leo rising, and then I have also Aquarius and Mercury. I don't like the details a lot of the times. I like the overall picture because I'm an air sign. I like to see it all, and I don't want to go into the details. But I realize that that's something there's juiciness there, right? And there's information there that's important in order for me to move forward, and in order for me to find balance, in order for me to be in the space of the Temperance card, in order for me to vibrate where I desire to vibrate, I have to be in balance. And how do I get to the vibrationary frequency that I'm desiring is through information gathering sometimes, right? And I gather information so that I can recognize where it is I want to vibrate. Another thing that Abraham talks about is contrast. So if I'm seeing something that I don't like, it brings me closer, or I'm experiencing something that I don't like, or I'm observing something that I don't like, it brings me closer to knowing what I do desire. That is the goal of mouse medicine. Okay, so everybody keep remembering to breathe. Breathing deeply allows us to get into oxytocin and dopamine, which allows us to be a better observer because we're not triggered. We're not in fight, flight response. So those small little things to remember that will help you to stay in alignment. Another thing is, if you have a question for the collective, I'll be here again on Monday. DM me and I will answer it. I am also uploading these now to YouTube. So if you are watching from YouTube later, you can email me or put a comment in the comment section if you have a question, and I'll answer it on Monday. And then I'm also available for one-on-one readings, and I have free resources on my website, stacyjustice.com. And I love you guys so much, and have a beautiful weekend. And here's to us moving forward with ease and grace, and with a little bit of mouse spirit. All right, bye.